Many will now judge him on his success right here, right now. And this is why I want to share real stories of success and the hard work that goes into it, and how almost every person I interview on this show comes across a problem and rather than just complain about it, thinks, I'm going to do something about this and build a solution for tomorrow. And what happens on that long journey, that's the real cool stuff. The bad news, of course, is that there is no such thing as overnight success. But it'd be no fun, would it, if everything was just handed to us on a silver platter? So today's guest is Mark Kilpatrick. He's the CPO of Urban FT. And they're on a mission that's focused around empowering the little guy in financial services. And this is where things get interesting, because it was inspired by Mark's childhood and him growing up in a small town. So Mark co-founded Urban FT with the goal in mind to build up these banks with the same mobile technology that behemoth banks gave their customers. So these guys work with Sprint, Boost Mobile, Sunrise Bank and a variety of major players in the banking credit union space. And they supply approximately 10% of all financial institutions in this space, with a current customer base of over 650 customers. But it's the story behind this payment startup, and empowering the underdogs in financial services is equally as inspiring as the company itself. So if you love technology and a good life story, buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to New York so we can speak with Mark Kilpatrick at Urban FT. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Thanks, Neil. So my name's Mark Kilpatrick, and I am a New York City-based entrepreneur. I am currently working on what I would say is my first major and my longest project with a company called Urban FT. And Urban FT is one of the most progressive or becoming, I would say, one of the most progressive and successful fintech companies in the financial services industry today. We've really been able to do that by enabling, and this really is our mission, by enabling small to medium-sized financial institutions to not just compete with, but in many times excel beyond what the much larger and more dominant institutions are doing here in the United States. Specifically with Urban FT, I am one of the co-founders and I am the chief product officer today. So my day-to-day does kind of bounce around. I do wear many hats and pretty much always have, but my primary focus has really driven into product strategy and driving that forward. A little bit of background on me. I am traditionally trained as a graphic designer, so it has been quite the road coming to New York, starting a business with two other founders, and having that creative background. But I think that's played very heavily into my approach. Outside of Urban FT, I do quite a bit of things to keep myself busy. One of those such things is for my alma mater, Barry University. I actually run and set up the New York City alumni chapter. So I spend a lot of time on that, and I stay very connected to my university. I also run an adult soccer group here in the city. I played in college, love soccer. It's been a great way for me to really connect with the local New York City community, especially on Roosevelt Island, which is where we play most of the time. That group, and one of the very cool things that we've been able to do, is to run a handful of charity events each year and raise money for some organizations that are in need. And, you know, in closing, it probably sounds like, and sometimes I feel this way, like I don't have a lot of personal time, but I do try to spend as much time as I can with family and friends, and really just build experiences and have the best time that I can with those people that are closest to me.
I was going to say that you can't have much time for personal time there, but when you say you're the wearer of many hats, you really are, aren't you? Keep yourself busy.
I do, yeah, and you know, I think there is a balance there that you have to find, and you do have to know when to shut off a little bit, and so that's something I'm working on learning, and I think I am getting better with that. But I do also think there's something to be said about staying busy and staying happy.
Absolutely. And you did mention a few moments ago about being a graphic designer, and that's where it all started. So before we dive into Urban FT, I want to take you back in time to where your journey began. So can you tell me a little bit about your journey from that graphic designer role to CPO where you are now? It sounds incredible.
Yeah, it certainly has been the journey. And, you know, I think for me, it really goes back to, I grew up in a very small town based in Washington State, and my dream was always to play soccer professionally, and I think at some point in time for a lot of kids growing up playing sports. That's a dream that they